On today's Glory Days show, the Mets are in the Final Four as they advance to the National League Championship Series to play the Chicago Cubs.
And after beating the Dodgers in a nerve-wracking Game 5 in the NLDS, we'll talk to Joe Battaglia, who is live in Milwaukee with some Cub fans about the Met-Cub matchup.
And somehow, Toronto got past the Texas Rangers in Wild Game 5 to advance to the American League Championship Series, where they will play the Kansas City Royals, with the winner going to the World Series. Canada correspondent Ryan Colpitz joins us via Skype from the Great White North to talk about the upcoming series and his experience in the stands at Game 5.
And if you're a baseball fan, the best hour of sports week is coming up on Glory Days right now.
NeatRadio.com.
Hello again, everybody. Today is Saturday, October 17th, 2015, and you are watching The Glory Days Show with Bruce Disco. My name is Paul Discofani, and this is my good friend, Bruce Ola. Kyle Melnick and Eric Mikhailov are behind the glass, and you are joining us on the Radio TV network, where we broadcast live from Studio C in the great state of New York, week after week after week. How are you?
Good. Got a little bit of a cold today, but playoff baseball, man, you can't get much better than that. Can't feel too bad even if you're sick.
No, you know, it's something that, as a Met fan, I can't really say that on Thursday confidence level was high that we would be here today.
True. I mean, we were going against the Dodgers ace, really. I mean, I guess they got co-aces, really, you know.
Yeah, so the Mets
Prevailed.
How great was that?
Yeah, it was, and like you say, I mean, they scored a run in the first inning. They were up 1-0. They gave 2 runs right back. DeGrom was on the ropes for the first few innings. I mean, he was Houdini is what he was, just escaping, situation after situation.
You know, I mean, when last you saw us, we were a little bleary-eyed after the Friday evening game.
Yeah.
That Game 1.
That's right. And that was even before we had all that controversy in Game 2 with Chase Utley breaking Ruben Tejada's leg.
Yeah, so why don't we talk about that for a minute?
Okay.
Couple of things that
Bother you about that?
Bothered me.
Okay.
Understood that nobody really thinks that Chase Utley
there was no intent to
injure Ruben Tejada.
Yeah.
But he did.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? When you drive in your car, all right, and you run over a little old man crossing the street, you didn't intend to do that.
But
you're
still did it.
responsible for your actions.
That's right.
So what does Major League Baseball do? Of course, they suspend him.
Mm-hmm.
But then they don't listen to his appeal. Why wouldn't you not listen to his appeal?
Well, the reason why is because basically his agents or whatever, I'm not sure the agents are the ones that are involved in the appeal, they wanted to have enough time to do their research. Because what their point was, basically, there have been many slides like that over the course of the season, and nobody else was suspended, okay? And they were looking to get all that footage to build their case for that. And they said they needed more time, and Major League Baseball said, okay, take your time.
And that just really negates the suspension. It made it a mockery, because now you could have heard the suspension. You could have heard the appeal immediately the next day.
Yeah.
Understood you need time, but how much time do you need? You could go on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
And in 7 minutes, get 5 or 6 instances of people that slid into guys at second base that did not get suspended.
Yeah.
You get a bunch of them.
Sure you can.
So what are we talking about here? I think Major League Baseball, once again, I just don't understand how you drop the ball on this.
Well, Major League Baseball dropping the ball on a lot of things. The umpires don't even understand the rules anymore. I mean, which is crazy too, which we'll get into, I guess, later on.
That's point number 2.
Yeah,
but still, you don't hear his appeal. And now,
But it worked out. We were talking about this. I think it was maybe Monday night. If he was suspended, would they forfeit that roster spot, or could they bring somebody else up? We don't know the answer to that question.
We never got the answer to that question. That is a good question.
Because what really happened is basically because of his suspension, okay? The Dodgers weren't going to bring him out in any of those games or whatever. So they really had an empty spot, that they couldn't, it was an unproductive spot they had in their roster.
And now they wound up, they played with only 24 guys, theoretically, on Monday. And he emptied his bench Monday. Every single position player
except for Chase Utley.
Except for Chase Utley, okay? On Tuesday, he didn't play him at all either in that game. Granted, they won that game, but he didn't play him at all either in that game.
Yeah.
Then, what does he do? He finally gets him up to pinch hit in the 9th inning.
I'll tell you what, I thought he hit that ball better than he did. I really did. I thought that ball was out of here,
So the Mets win. We talked to you last week that the Mets won Game 1. In Game 2, against Greinke, the Dodgers get the split, and now they come back to New York. Now, we were at the game on
Monday night. Ooh. It was an electric atmosphere. And, they were booing all the Dodgers, but when Chase Utley was announced, man, they really cranked up the volume for that one, man.
Yeah, and the funny thing, the weird thing was that he just stood there. When they show the players, he just stood there and he was just looking straight ahead. If I were him, I would have.
You think he was medicated?
I think he got a concussion, and I think he just didn't even know where he was. That's what I think, because he just stood there and.
Yep.
I don't know. It just, first of all, the play itself. If he slides into Ruben Tejada and breaks his leg, we're not having this conversation. You know what I mean? But it's the fact that he really, what do we used to call it? That's a cross-body block.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Then he didn't get suspended. Then
and they called him out on the play, on the field, and then manager Don Mattingly protests or challenges the call, and they come back and they reverse it, even though Utley never touched second base anyway. Nobody touched second base on that play.
That, to me, is the most amazing thing of that whole series, is that how do you not call him out? I'm sorry, he's out. He did not touch the base. Whether or not Tejada touched the base, I'm not,
You're saying it's immaterial?
I wouldn't say it's immaterial, but you give up. I'll give you an example, okay? You're running to first base, okay? First baseman grabs the ball. His foot is not on the base, okay? You don't touch the base. You just run over the base. Because you're running so hard, you miss the base, okay? Umpire calls you out.
Well, I don't. Would the umpire make any call?
Well, no.
The umpire probably wouldn't make any call at all. And you both be scrambling back to the base.
But if the umpire doesn't make a call, that's different. But once he calls you out, you walk off the field. And it's the same thing. When you walk off the field, you are giving yourself up.
Yep.
And Joe Torre, when did Joe Torre become a fumfering old man? You know what I mean? He was standing there, the Mets could have just tagged him on this way to the dugout.
Oh, come on. Did he say that?
Yeah.
And
then not only did he say they could have tagged him on the way to the dugout, they said somebody could have gone into the dugout and tagged him.
Oh, yeah.
Keith Hernandez was losing his mind.
Keith Hernandez?
Yeah, because he's Keith Hernandez. But he was losing his mind. He says, how could you say that? First of all, you can't go into the other team's dugout and tag a player. That's just ridiculous. That's something that you see
there's a lot of bats there, too, man.
Right. Because he says the same way, he says, if I go into the dugout, he says, I give myself up on a called strike 3. Catcher doesn't tag me. I just walk off the field.
Right.
He says, if I go into the dugout...
He's out of the base path, that's what he is, man.
He says, I can't just sprint out of the dugout and go to first base. So what were they thinking?
True. But the Mets, they prevail. We'll play the Cubs starting tonight. I know we'll have
Joe on later.
We'll have Joe on later on. I guess you said he's got a couple of his brothers that are going to be talking smack with us or whatever. Okay, so I don't want to get that. I don't want to get into the smack with them. I'm just going to say a couple of things right now. Okay. The internet has been abuzz over the last day or so, now that the Mets are playing the Cubs, okay? So there are some pretty good quotes or pretty good posts mocking the Chicago Cubs, okay? So I got 3. They had about 5 in the post today. The first one was a picture of Brian Williams with the caption saying, I was there when the Cubs won the World Series, okay? We all know that was 1908, and Brian Williams wasn't a gleam in anybody's eye back then, but that's Brian Williams for you, okay? The second one was, what do you call a Cub with a World Series ring?
Oh, I don't know.
A thief. Okay. Good one, right? And then the third one, best thing about dating a Cubs fan, you know she ain't looking for a ring. Bada boom. Okay.
Well, the people in Chicago have got to know. I heard the most interesting thing of all.
Oh, yeah?
Okay. But I haven't been able to verify this is true. You know the story about the
goat?
The goat.
That started the fire?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. The curse of the goat. I was told that the goat's name, Murphy.
Oh, really?
The goat's name was Murphy.
Not Hernandez. Okay.
No,
Murphy.
the goat's name was Murphy.
Wow.
So I got to confirm that before I will. See, I don't want to bring it on the air unless it's true.
Of course not.
But wouldn't that be great if it was? The goat's name is Murphy. And let's talk about Daniel Murphy for a second.
Yeah, what a game 5 he had, man.
Daniel Murphy is that guy that when he's out on the field and the ball is hit to him, you just go, oh my God.
You cringe a little bit.
You cringe a little, that's right.
You hope he picks the ball up.
All right.
You also hope he throws it to the right base.
This guy is going to make a great baseball manager someday. Okay? He's one of those guys that really knows the game. He understands it. He just isn't athletic enough to execute sometimes.
Right.
But
you think about him
aggressive.
last year, here's the guy that doesn't have a lot of speed, but he steals bases. And he's opportunistic, which is exactly what he did in that game.
And he pulled off that play on Thursday night. Mets are down 2-1.
Yeah.
Lucas Duda, he singles to lead off the inning. Lucas Duda, Cespedes struck out.
Yeah.
Lucas Duda then walked. And he just so casually walked over to second base. And as he was going, he said the entire time he was thinking about it because he noticed where everybody was.
Right, the shift was on for Duda, so there was nobody standing on third base.
Right, and he said...
And once he got to second, he took off. There was no play on him, man.
He said something that was really funny afterwards. He says, when I got to second base and I took off, he says, and nobody did anything. He says, I'm halfway there running full speed, and he says, I hope nobody called timeout because I'm going to look like an idiot. Instead, if you watch the replay, they have this overhead view. You're going to see Tim Tuffle, the coach, the third base coach, is kind of walking by third base, and he's just kind of kicking the dirt around third base. And he looks up and goes, oh, and he backs away. And the umpire is out in left field talking to the left field umpire. He comes running back because in case there was a play. And what's his name? Greinke didn't know what to do because he couldn't throw it to anybody. There was nobody there.
I guess the only thing he could have done is maybe outran him to third base. And I don't know
Well,
how far it is. How far it is from the pitcher's mound to third versus second base to third. I would say it's got to be a longer run from second base.
It's like 45 feet from the pitcher's mound to third base on a direct line.
Right.
But he didn't notice him till he was there.
No, he was talking to his glove is what he was doing.
Yeah.
He was mad about walking Lucas Duda.
Right. And so realistically, the person who is responsible for this is either the pitcher or the guy who was the shortstop. Because as soon as the play was over, you know that the third baseman is all the way on the side, or the shortstop is on there, whatever. Your play is to immediately go to third to prevent that to happen.
And I guess that would have been Justin Turner, right? Justin Turner was a third baseman.
But I'm not sure whether Turner was at short.
Yeah, he probably wasn't, because early in that game, because that was another big play in the first inning, okay, where they had the shift on against Granderson. So he was Turner was playing like second base, and the ball got past Greinke, and Turner picks it up, and he throws it, and the umpire calls Curtis Granderson out at first. Right. On the replay, it was overturned. Right. And, in a game like that, where it's a one-run game, every run counts. That was a big play in that game, too.
Mm-hmm. And Murphy was involved in everything. Mm-hmm. Murphy drove in Granderson in the first inning. He scored
the tying run.
He scored the goal. He scored the tying run in
the
fourth inning, and then he
hits the home run.
This is a guy who only had, 14 home runs?
16, I think.
16 in the course of the whole year. 3 in the playoffs against 2 of the best pitchers.
Yeah.
You know?
The thing that scares me about, it's going to be it's hitting versus pitching. This series is coming up. The only thing is that guy Jake Arrieta is probably better than both Greinke and Kershaw.
Yeah, but there's not two of them.
Thank God. Thank God. You know.
We don't have to worry
And
about
he's not pitching
two
game
guys.
one either, which is better too.
We faced those two guys twice in a 4-game series.
And we beat them both once.
We had to beat them both once, and that's all we had to do, because then we knew we were going to beat the other guy.
Yeah. Anderson,
yes. All right, you know what? I think we should get started.
Yeah, let's go to a break.
That
When we
isn't
come
like
back,
we've been
we'll
doing nothing.
get our neighbor to the north, Ryan Colpitz, talk about the fantastic Toronto-Texas series.
Right.
And actually, I guess Game 5, which is an exciting game there too, with a little bit of controversy as well, you know.
Right. And then we'll go up to Milwaukee, and we'll talk to Joe Bottana, where he'll be in a room full of Chicago Cub fans. I hope they don't have a black cat. Stay with us. You're watching The Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco, only on the Enravio TV network. We're coming right back.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit hansoncarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, Enravio can get your message out there. And we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is Enravio.com.
Welcome back to the Glory Days Show, here with Bruce and Disco on the Enravio TV network. Our first guest was in Toronto on Wednesday night to witness one of the wildest innings in postseason playoff baseball history, as the Toronto Blue Jays came all the way back from an 0-2 deficit against the Texas Rangers to win Game 3 and 4 on the road, setting up that climactic Game 5 in Toronto. Please welcome back to the program, live via Skype, Ryan Colpitz.
Hey, Ryan, how are you?
Man, after that Game 5, I think I had a few heart attacks. I asked the usher there later close by.
Did you, going into that game, you were probably a little nervous, but did you have confidence going into that game?
I did because the fact that it was Stroman versus Hamels. I mean, in game 2, like obviously everybody knows, it did go 14 innings, and it ended up coming down to the bullpen. Stroman went like 7 innings in game 2, so I did have confidence in the Stroh show that he would do pretty well in pitching because we got to Hamels pretty good too, giving up some key runs during game 2 in a game that we should have kind of won, but at the same time, it is what it is. So I had confidence in that, and just the bats got going. They knew that they were it was a do or die situation, and the fact that they came, like you said, back from 0-2 to tie it up to bring it back to Toronto in front of the Toronto faithful itself, that was just spectacular. And it was just a rocking atmosphere, especially when Edwin hit that bomb in the 6th to tie it up after the Martin error. It was something else. And then also too, like when that Martin error happened and everybody disagreed with it, the beer cans that were flown, it was just, I don't even know what to say to that. Like, yeah, everybody was a little bit like angry about it, but at the same time, I was like, Toronto, like, come on, like, get your stuff together.
Well, let's talk. Take us through the. Let's talk about that entire 7th inning first of all. Okay. Now the fans are all charged up. What was the score at the time when that 7th inning started?
Yeah, it was the tie game.
Right.
2-2.
Pardon?
2-2, right?
Yeah, 2-2.
Yep.
It was top of the 3rd. I believe Stroman was still pitching, and he gave up a couple hits, and then Odor ended up getting on 3rd. Well, then Martin went to grab the ball and throw it back to what would be Sanchez as he would come in relief Stroman, and it would just go off of Chu's bat. Now, I don't actually know what the rule is for that because I know that it's still live ball until it reaches the pitcher's glove.
Well, it's a live ball. It's a live ball even when the pitcher has it.
Yeah.
It's a live ball unless somebody calls timeout. It's the equivalent of him accidentally hitting him in the head or throwing it past the pitcher. That's the equivalent. I think the biggest confusion now, obviously you were there, so in the stands you guys had a lot less information than we had here. But even on TV, but I was listening to it on radio, I was on the way home, there was such confusion. Nobody seemed to know what the rule was.
And the umpire looked like he called timeout. He said it was a dead ball.
Right.
I mean, which
The
I can.
umpire
I mean,
made
and this
a
is the case
mistake.
of an umpire not understanding what the rules are.
Yeah, well, the biggest confusion, too, is that the umpire had called time, said like he waved his hand saying, okay, time, and that's when the runner ran in. So the runner got sent back to 3rd, and that's when Bannister came out and said, like, hey, like, what's up with that, and blah, blah, blah. And by the end of it all, like, when the run scored, people started getting stupid in Toronto, I have to say. They started throwing beer cans, and I get it, like they're angry or whatever. Run to the bathroom and grab a roll of toilet paper and throw that for all I care. When it comes to endangering the people below, because people that throw half beer cans or whatever, they think they're going to make it to the field, but half of them don't. Mm-hmm. And the thing that really ticked me off, too, was that the Texas Rangers pitcher, Sam Dyson, who was in at the time, took offense to Edwin because Edwin, before he stepped to the plate, was, like, waving the crowd like, hey, stop, like, trying to settle the crowd down. And Dyson took exception to that, thinking that Edwin was trying to, like, pump them up just because it was directly after Bautista hit that 3 home run shot, right? Yep. So, I mean, like, it was a 52-minute inning that should have only lasted half an hour because, like, with all the shenanigans that went on, and then with Sam Dyson being the guy he was of taking offense to that, and then also too at the afterwards when Tulo struck out to finally end that inning, Dyson goes up to him and slaps him on the butt and chirps him. It's like you don't do that in Major League. You do that in like AAA ball or do whatever, but you don't do that in Major League Baseball. That was actually the first time that I've seen a pitcher go up to a player,
an opposing player,
struck him out, tapped him on the butt and said whatever he said to have the benches cleared twice in an inning.
Yeah, you know, we had a similar thing here in way back before your time. In the '73 playoffs when Pete Rose and Mets shortstop Bud Harrelson got into an altercation at second base as Rose was trying to break up a double play. And after the inning was over, Rose was actually a left fielder at the time, and Rose was out in left field, and people were throwing things at him.
He
in
put a
left
batting
field.
helmet on out there. They
Remember?
were throwing batteries at him.
He came out with a batting helmet on, and what's his name? Sparky Anderson took his team off the field. And the Mets sent a contingent of players out there, including Willie Mays.
Yep, Cleon Jones.
Cleon Jones, Tommy Agee, and they went out to left field to plead with the fans because they said they were going to make the Mets forfeit that game if they didn't calm that crowd down. And a lot of that reminded me of what was going on in Toronto. You know, I understand. I'm a fan. You know, I know how worked up you get and how crazy you get.
Or as Pete Torgerson likes to say, lubed up. These guys were lubed up too, right?
Listen,
I mean, you know, you're not throwing a full beer, you're throwing a half-empty beer, and it's probably your 8th and 9th one that you're working on, man. You know,
so it's just it's a scary thing, I guess, if you're a player to be out on that field because you don't know what kind of you got 55,000 people. You know, not every one of them wants to run up to you and kiss you on the cheek. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing. Especially after the game, I think everybody from the 500s ended up coming down to the 100s just to celebrate with the team. And I mean, it was extravagant seeing the boys celebrate after like facing 0-2, facing elimination in Texas and coming back. R.A. Dickey was crowd surfing a little bit because he would run up the left field side. Yeah, it was actually really cool. Like he would run up the left field side, jumping the crowd, celebrate, run a little bit further down, jumping the crowd, celebrate, whatever.
We love R.A. Dickey.
Like myself, I was by the Texas dugout because it was the closest one I could get to because the Jays dugout was about 10, 15 rows back. Right. So I was right behind the Texas dugout, and Deanna Navarro came out, and I actually got sprayed by champagne by him. So that was a pretty cool moment in itself. But if you watch Munenori Kawasaki, he takes the cake. His interviews are actually the best thing I've seen in Jays baseball besides the postseason. I love that guy passionately, and he is just such an outgoing guy.
I have to say, in 1986, when the Mets clinched the playoff, I was at the game, and I was one of those lunatics that ran out onto the field, and I got myself a piece of turf. Everybody was ripping up the outfield grass. I got a piece of grass. I brought a little container with me so I could scoop up some dirt, and I scooped up some dirt around second base and in the outfield because they made everybody go. They opened up the center field fence, and they made everybody go out through the outfield.
Of course, when the World Series happened, New York's Finest had a bunch of cops on horses.
Right, they brought
that
out the
marched
cops
in
on
about
horses,
the 7th inning. You know,
so
knew it was going to happen again.
Field.
You know,
but so let's talk about what's coming up now. Now, obviously, you lost the first game, and of course, to you guys, that doesn't mean anything. You just lost 2 games at home, went into Texas and won 2 games. But were you disappointed at all about the? I mean, obviously disappointed about it, but did they show you something that you didn't expect to see Kansas City yesterday?
Not really. I mean, Volquez in his last start, I was actually the one thing I was kind of surprised to see was that the both benches didn't get pregame warnings concerning their rivalry during the regular season. I was actually surprised with that because I was thinking that during the day. I said to some people I knew, I was like, watch them get pregame warnings just so they wouldn't have that issue, and I didn't see those happen. And then Volquez, of course, like he's hats off to him. He is a great pitcher. He threw 6 shutout innings. Even Donaldson and Troy Tulowitzki after the game were saying, like, I mean, hats off to him. He threw his stuff tonight. And like you said, it's only game 1. We're used to losing the first game and beating the odds because 62% of teams that win the first game in the ALCS have gone on to win it, like win that series. So, I mean, it's just another odd that we can prove that can be beaten when the Jays step up to the plate. Obviously, they're sending David Price today against Ventura. Ventura and Price have both struggled so far in the postseason. Ventura's 0-1. David Price is 1-1, and because he only has that one win because he came in relief of Dickey, and they ended up winning that game. So technically, that should have been Dickey's win, but regardless,
it's a lot like the Mets Cubs series in that you have a team with really good pitching,
Right.
and against a team with really good hitting. You know, and they say the pitching always wins out. At least that's what we're hoping in the New York series. Might be a little different story with Toronto. We'll see.
Are you
Yeah.
Ryan? Are you going to get a chance to see any of the games? Being at any of the games?
Oh, 100%. I found out the game times and I told my boss at work, okay, hey, look, I need you to make those games. So yeah, I'll be there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, all 3 games, and it should be an exciting scene.
This morning, my wife knows that I'm going to the game tonight, right? And of course, I'm going tomorrow because I have tickets. And so she says, I said, yeah. I said, go tonight and tomorrow. She says, you going to the game tomorrow too? I says, well, yeah. She says, I thought you weren't going to all the games. I says, are you insane? I says,
Yeah,
if I get a chance to go to a play, I said, it happens once every 10 years.
Yeah, you have to go.
You gotta go. I mean, obviously, I'm lucky because I was able to get tickets for all the games, you know. But you gotta go when you get a chance. I mean, especially if you're a Met fan.
Now,
How
I was
many
talking to
chances
Ryan a
do
little
we
bit off
get?
camera before. He was saying that he was hoping for a Toronto-Chicago World Series is what he was doing.
Let's talk about that for a second, shall we?
You know what's funny? I didn't say I was cheering for the Cubs. I just said it would be kind of cool to
You
see
did.
a team that
You
hasn't
did.
won anything in 107 years to face a team that hasn't won anything in 22 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't want to play. You see, I was rooting for the Cardinals, not because I think that the Mets would have had an easier time against the Cardinals
Yeah.
or a worse time against. I just don't want that hanging over me. I don't want to be that team. I don't want to beat that team that they win, that they beat to break that streak.
If
You
the
know what I
Mets
mean?
make this series, though, there's Toronto has the manager is John Gibbons. He's an ex-Met.
Right.
And Ned Yost was drafted by the Mets back in '74. He's the manager of Kansas City. So
And they have Ari Dickey.
yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's the thing is, if the Mets go on and play the World Series against the Jays, the most interesting matchup that may happen would be R.A. Dickey versus Noah Syndergaard.
Well, I will go one better.
That would be great.
I think the marquee would be, what's his name? Jeez, I'm drawing a blank on it. Steven Matz
Yeah.
and
Stroman.
it's Stroman,
yeah.
who, you know, they're almost the same age. They pitched against each other in high school. That would be a good one too.
Yeah, that would be a really excellent one to see.
Yep.
And
See, so that would be a much better World Series for you.
So change your mind, my friend.
If you ever want to be on the show again, I demand that you change your mind.
all right, for the sake of me wanting to be on the show again, all right, let's go, Matt.
There we go. There we go. All right.
Now you can root for whoever you want to. We don't care. All righty, man. Hey, good luck tonight. Right? Is it tonight game 2?
No, it's afternoon, 4:07.
afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah, 4:07 start tonight.
Good luck tonight. You do not want to start 0-2. You don't want to do that
I know.
again. You,
Well, I
you
mean,
can't go to
it
the
would
well
be
that
back-
often.
Look, last series, right?
Yep, that's true.
So,
As Yogi
right.
Berra said, it ain't over till it's over, right?
yeah, and good luck with the Mets.
Thank you.
Yeah, we hope.
We'll talk soon.
Sounds
All right,
good.
man. Thanks a lot. That
Thanks for
is,
calling in there, Ryan.
That's Ryan Kopitz calling in, Skyping in. Thanks, man. Skyping in from the Great White North,
Toronto.
Toronto. That's pretty cool.
That is.
It's nice to get a perspective like that. You know, you only get that here on the Glory Days show. Who else is interviewing fans,
There you go.
right?
We'll take another break here on the Glory Day Show. When we get back, we'll head to Chicago to talk to Joe Montagna and a house full of Chicago Cubs fans about the upcoming National League Championship Series between the Mets and the Chicago Cubs. Stay with us. You're watching the Glory Day Show with Bruce and Disco, only on the Arabia TV network. Coming right back.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit hansoncarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. Village Music Shop of Mastic. 1-800-HEY-DUDE, your full-service store with personalized attention, school band instrument rentals and sales, music instruction on all instruments for all styles and age groups, for guitars, drums, amplifiers, PA systems, and accessories. It's Village Music Shop, 1495 Montauk Highway in Mastic. Call 1-800-HEY-DUDE or go to villagemusicshop.com. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Welcome back to the Gloria Day Show with Bruce the Disco here on the InRavio TV network. We're trying to get our good pal Joe Battaglia on the phone. And,
I think he's afraid of the Mets, man, is what I think.
well, you know, the question is, he's supposed to be with his brothers, who are both Chicago Cubs fans, and we're concerned that maybe they have done something to him that is preventing him from doing it. You know what? Talk about let's talk about that series.
Which series?
This series.
This series, okay.
The Mets and the Chicago Cubs. I would. The Mets and the Cubs have never played each other.
Not in a playoff series.
Not in the playoff series. The Mets had this big. The big thing with the Mets and the Cubs was the 1969 pennant race.
Yeah, where they the Cubs just kind of fell in the toilet at the end. I think the Mets made up 8.5 games on them. And the Black Cat walked across. Black Cat walked across the field, walked in front of the dugout. I think he looked at Ron Santo and at Leo DeRocha. Leo DeRocha was still managing the Cubs back then. And the rest is history. The Mets went on a bit of a roll and won the National League East, beat the Atlanta Braves in a 5-game series. They swept them 3 games in a row. And then went and defeated the heavily favored Baltimore Orioles in, was that 6 games? I don't think they won 7 games.
5 games.
5 games.
5
okay,
games.
they just lost the first game and that was it?
Yeah, the Mets lost the first game. Tom Seaver pitched
Yep.
in the first game. And then they went on and they won game 2, they won game 3, and then they split there and then won the 3 games at home. You know? So one of the things that I thought was really interesting about this series was that these are 2 very evenly matched teams in almost every category.
Really?
You know, they put up a graphic. I was actually watching Baseball Network this morning. They put up a graphic, and they were just percentage points away from each other on batting average. Just percentage points.
And ERA too?
Cubs had a better ERA.
Really?
Cubs had a better ERA. They hit just about the same amount of home runs. The Mets hit more, but the Mets actually hit more home runs than the Cubs over the course of the entire year. And the Cubs pitching staff had a better ERA. You know what's going to be the big key here, I think? The Cubs lead the league in strikeouts.
Yeah, okay. That's right. And the Mets pitching is going to be, that's going to be how they win this series. Because I'll tell you what, the wind is blowing out in Wrigley at this time of the year. You know, and any fly ball has a chance of becoming a home run from the friendly confines of Wrigley Field.
Well, and I also think that no matter how great Jake Arrieta is, he's not 2 people.
Yeah.
He's not Clayton Kershaw and Zach Greinke. You know what I mean? So even if he pitches 3 games and wins all 3 of them, which he's not because he's not pitching game 1.
Yeah.
You know? I think that the whole key, obviously, we know that the Mets pitching is going to be good. The starting pitching is going to be good. I think what we saw is that Terry Collins is just a little afraid of his bullpen. You know, seeing the fact that he brought Syndergaard out. Question, do you leave Syndergaard in the bullpen for this series? Then you use him 4 times.
I don't think you do. I mean, and there's a little, I guess he's undecided about who's going to pitch game 2 because he had Syndergaard up 4 times in that game 5. So he probably threw about 100 pitches to say when all was said and done.
I think that the fact that they're going to a place, Wrigley Field, that they feel comfortable hitting in, it's got to only help them.
Yeah, the problem is, and of course, you know, you throw all the records in the toilet right now. But the Mets were 0-7 against the Cubs this year too.
Yeah.
But all those games were before they really had a legitimate lineup. The Mets.
True,
you know?
true. But you know what?
But
if you look at
DeGrom had his worst starts, I think, against the Cubs too.
Yes, and the other thing is, if you look at the 5 key players that the Mets got at that trading deadline, Clippard, Uribe,
Yeah.
Kelly Johnson, Cespedes, and a couple days later they got Addison Reed. Okay, those 5 guys had 0 impact other than the Cespedes home run in Game 3. They've had 0 impact on this series. Uribe is hurt. Johnson pinch hit, didn't even play the field, and Clippard and Reed were so he didn't even go to them in the Game 5. So theoretically, it's like basically the same team. We got somebody on the phone.
We do.
We do. We have the grand, high exalted mystic ruler from Inravio TV. Chuck Schultz is on the phone.
Okay.
Chuck, how are you?
Good, guys. How are you? Good morning.
Hey, you sounded loud and clear there, man.
Good morning, man. Where are you today? Where in the world is Chuck Schultz?
I am in Cinema Riches, Long Island, New York, at the street fair. Huge street fair. They close off the whole street, and they have this big street fair every year, and we are here for that with Radio Van 74, and we're giving away some bracelets and stuff. And don't forget, if you show up with a bracelet and you're the first one to get down here, you could win $100.
Wow.
You have
I
$100
understand.
on
I
you?
understand. What's that?
Do you have $100 on you?
I absolutely do. I have a crisp $100 bill on me.
So
And I think the New
anybody
York
wants
Mets
to
are
get
coming
a
to.
bracelet, you know, if you don't have a bracelet, how could they get one?
You got to show up at one of our events.
There you
We're
go.
all over the place, so if you show up, there's plenty of places for you to go ahead and get a bracelet from.
Wow. That would be pretty cool, getting $100 just for...
Found money, man. You're playing with house money now.
But
Just
you
for
gotta
showing
watch,
up to an event.
But you got to
Yeah.
watch this station. You have to be a fan of this station.
That's right.
We're not giving it away for nothing. Although I guess we are giving it away for nothing. You just have to show up.
There you go. I think some of the New York Mets are going to show up later and sign autographs. So we'll find out.
So there you go.
Three of the good ones. What are the good ones? I don't know. So they're going to come down and sign.
You know
Well,
what?
actually, no. We're going to have a live band here at 12 o'clock. So
Ooh, who's
we're gonna have
playing?
a
What
little-
kind of music?
A little three-piece. They're going to be doing some jazz and some rock and things like that. So, yeah, we'll have a little live band as well at 12 o'clock. So.
Oh, that's very cool. Now, where is that? Where in Santa Riches is it?
It's right on Main Street, Montauk Highway. So
Okay.
if you familiar with Long Island, Montauk Highway pretty much runs the gamut. You can come right into Santa Mauritius, and you'll see it. Can't miss it. Tonight, by the way, we're going to be at the Spooky Walk, which is also in Santa Mauritius. That's at Camp Aquatic, and we'll be over there with the Inravio van as well. So
Wow.
that's a different event. So if you show up there, you may win $100.
There you go.
So show up for the street fair, get your bracelet, and then show up at the spooky walk later on and get the $100.
You
Sounds
see,
like
there
a
you
good day
go.
to me.
Bruce
Hey, you
is
just made
giving
$100
it
for
away
the day.
here.
There
You
you
just
go.
cost Chuck $100. Listen, I'm sending my wife there today to get the bracelet and then meet you at the Spooky Walk.
You know,
That's
but
awesome.
isn't there?
We
There's
should
always
do that because all the money that the shows are bringing in, we can afford to do that.
I always remember there was always a disclaimer. Basically, the contests weren't open to employees of the or families of the shows. You know,
Right,
so-
of course.
But
Well,
an
that's,
employee is
goes
on
without
it.
saying, and you can't win a contest, more than one contest in 30 days.
There you go.
Yeah, so actually, go down there. I am sure it sounds like it's a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot
It's
of
a
fun
nice
down
day out there. A little on the chilly side, but it's sunny out, and be a good day to
especially-
get outdoors and check out the street fair there in Santa Maria.
And especially the
That's Santa
spooky
Marici's.
walk, man. The spooky walk.
Yeah,
is
that
scary.
sounds good too.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's good. It's a good out walk, and from what I understand, it's pretty scary this year. They've added a lot of new things, and you can catch us when you come out of that. So, there's plenty of cool things to do with Spooky Walk too.
All right, guys. So go out there, look for that in Radio Van. Get yourself a bracelet. Show up at the Spooky Walk. $100.
Catch some live music this afternoon. Go to the Spooky Walk tonight.
How many of you out there can't use $100?
Yeah. All right, Chuck. Thanks for
Chuck.
calling
All
in
right,
there, buddy.
guys.
All right.
Have a great show, guys. Talk to you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chuck. That is Chuck Schultz.
The Grand High Exalted Mystic Ruler is what you said.
The Grand Poobah,
Okay.
as we like to call him here. You know, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, what were we talking about?
So we
Hockey?
were talking about the Mets and the Cubs, and you were saying that, which surprised me, basically, that the statistics are almost the same.
Yes.
The Cubs have a little better pitching ERA than the Mets do, which surprises me.
Right.
And the Mets have a little better batting average than the Cubs.
A little bit of.
Well, the Mets hit more home runs. I think is
Mets
what you
hit
said.
more home runs than I think their batting average is like 243 to 244.
Okay.
It's an amazing thing.
I mean,
But-
they always say good pitching stops good hitting. You know, I think the intangible here is, you know, you also got a field. So I don't know who's a better fielding team. I believe the Cubs have given up more stolen bases than anybody else, but the Mets really don't run, which is too bad.
And the one thing is that the Cubs struck out the most times in the major leagues this year.
Yeah.
And the Mets starters are in the top 5 in strikeouts, and 3 of their starting pitchers are in the top 5 in average fastball velocity. You
Yeah.
know they did that? They kept stats on that?
They keep stats on everything these days. I mean, you know, it's not that surprising.
You know, one of the things that when you look at this series and you say, all right, you know, we're starting 2 games at home.
Yeah.
And taking 2 games at home and then going back to the other team for 3 straight, I
Yeah.
think that's more of an advantage than having games 6 and 7.
Well, I
at
mean, it
home.
really puts the pressure on the home team to win those first 2 games because
Yeah.
if the visitors get a split, you might not come home. You know.
They may not come home. And you know what? Wrigley Field has never really been. I mean, the Mets score a lot of runs there. Everybody scores a lot of runs
Yeah.
there. But it's never been good to the Mets, Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
It's one of those places where.
It's a quirky
it's a
field too. I
hard-
mean, you got the ivy out there covering, covering the outfield fence. There's no padding out there or whatever. You know,
No, and it's a-
so balls take crazy hops over that thing too.
And I also think that it's a lot. I know that the walls are short. You know, the distance to the fence is short, but it's a very big field. It seems like there's a lot of room. You get a lot of doubles and triples, and the Mets specialize in doubles. You know,
The other thing that comes into play is the bullpens are not out in the outfield; they're down the lines.
Ooh, so
So
they're out
there are those mounds that you have to worry about if you're chasing a foul ball too. You know, and there's not a lot of foul ball territory. I don't think in that ballpark either.
no, not at all. Do you have you ever been there?
Chicago?
Have you ever been to a Chicago Cubs game?
No.
Yeah, because that's one of those things. It's your bucket list.
on your
thing.
bucket
You
list,
know,
yeah.
you want to go
Yep.
there. You want to go to. You want to go to where the Red Sox play. You want to go to Fenway Park. Those are the type of things. And they were talking about how Theo Epstein. Do you realize that Theo Epstein put together the Red Sox team
Right.
that broke their 80-year
Drought. And he's got a chance to do the same thing with the Cubs.
Is that guy not like Hall of Fame now
Yeah.
material?
Yeah.
If he were able to get them to win this year, not this year, maybe next year, you guys, but if he was able to get the Cubs to the World Series and to actually win the World Series this year,
Yep.
and our favorite alcoholic uncle, Joe Madden, is the manager.
Well, you know, and we talked about when we did the opening, the extravaganza for the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
We talked about that the Cubs had a legitimate shot. I mean, they had a new manager. Joe Madden he's a great manager.
Right.
they have all these up-and-coming players or whatever. So they probably are a year ahead of where they expected to be.
Well, the Mets too, I think.
Yeah, I think
the Mets
so
are
too.
a year ahead. Both of
And
these two
the
teams-
other side story that's going on here is basically that Joe Madden worked for Terry Collins back when they played for the Angels.
Oh, really?
And actually, he had to make a decision about who to keep, and he felt that it was good to keep Madden. Because he always felt it was good to promote from within and to show, other people that were involved with the organization that basically you can succeed from within. So I mean, Terry's I think 6 years older than him. I think he's 69, and Madden is 61. But they have a lot of similar, I think, perspective about things.
I mean, there's two reasons why I didn't want to play the Cubs.
Yeah.
Okay, and both of them are supernatural.
Okay.
Okay. Number one, everybody knows about the curse.
Yeah.
Right. The fact that they haven't won since 1908. They've only been to one World Series since
1945 is what it was. Yeah.
But they haven't won the World Series, and it's the stupid curse of the GOAT and whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the other thing is the incredible prognostication of Robert Zemeckis.
Expand, please.
1985.
Okay.
Back to the Future Part 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That movie, Back to the Future
Yep.
Part 2,
Yep.
has a scene in it
Yep.
in which
The Cubs win the World Series in
on
2015.
October 15th
Yep.
of 2015, they say the Cubbies win the World Series. Cubs beat, and who'd they beat? Miami.
Yeah. Well, and we
There
all know
was
that
no
Miami plays in
Miami
the
back
National
then.
League, so
But there was no Miami back then, and now there's a Miami.
yeah.
So I know it's stupid and it should come down to balls and strikes and who hits the home runs and stuff, but that stuff hangs over you, man. That stuff is.
Well, you
when
were
you gotta
saying-
beat a team and those.
You were saying you were
things-
nervous Thursday night. I mean, you have nothing to do with the game, really. You know,
Nothing.
and you couldn't eat, you couldn't sleep.
I was
don't know.
completely verklempt.
I'm just gonna take it in, man.
Well, right now that's what I feel, and you know what? My son told me, James told me, he says, how am I going to survive? I got to survive another series before I even get to the World Series. All right, you know what? We're almost out of time.
Yeah. Too bad we missed our friends from Chicago. We would have liked to have talked a little trash with them.
Maybe
but,
next week we can get them on and we could really talk trash.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
if
maybe
we're
it'll be
losing, we're not getting them on
wrapped
at all.
up by then.
Yeah.
And we can just gloat.
All right,
Okay?
we're almost
Yeah.
out of time here. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up for the weekend. Stay with us. You watch The Glory Day Show, Bruce Disco, only on the Radio and TV Network. We're coming right back.
For over 60 years, Hanson Carpet has put the customer first, providing only the finest quality products and service. And Hanson Carpet is so much more than just carpet. We also carry a wide selection of window blinds and shades, and our licensed and insured technicians can service any of your flooring or window covering needs. Browse our huge selection of laminate, carpet, linoleum, vinyl, and tile. Stop by our showroom today or visit hansoncarpet.com. No matter what your project, Hanson Carpet has got you covered. The world of advertising has changed. Radio, TV, and newspaper revenues have declined drastically. Why? Because businesses have realized that advertising return on investment isn't what it used to be. So what can we do about it? Well, that's easy. Advertise online. Own a local restaurant, real estate agency, or even a national retail chain? Whatever your business, InRavio can get your message out there, and we can do it at a fraction of the cost. Call today and see the difference for yourself. This isn't TV. This isn't radio. This is InRavio.com.
Hey, this is Chris Dick, and if InRavio.com spots you at an event wearing this bracelet, they will give you $100.
Welcome back to the Glory Day Show. We're Bruce Disco here on the InRavio TV network. So we're just getting ready to just say goodbye and wrap it up and tell you how great the Mets are and how they're going to beat the Cubs. And lo and behold, we get Joe Battaglia on the phone. Joe, are you there?
I am here. How you doing?
All right.
Good.
First of all, I have to ask you. You had sent me a message and said that you had that your two brothers were with you.
Yeah, but they're actually up in the room watching the Chelsea Aston Villa soccer game, and they're totally absorbed with that.
Oh, jeez.
We wanted to talk.
Come on, I thought this was a real man, man.
Here. I don't know. Can we see this picture? We got this picture here of Joe and his brothers at dinner last night, and you know what? They look like Chicago Cubs fans.
Did I like the Bears too?
Yeah, unfortunately they do.
Okay.
It's
And how come they're Chicago fans and you're not?
well, you got to understand, Paul. I've lived in Wisconsin for almost 34 years. I'm married to a wonderful woman who bleeds blue and gold during baseball season and green and gold during football season. So we probably wouldn't have been married for 34 years if I hadn't converted. And,
You could have just said you were smarter than your two brothers, and I would have taken that as an acceptable answer too.
So real quick, tell us what's an outsider's opinion of this Mets-Cubs series?
You know, I think it's going to be a great series, and I really don't have much of a sense who's going to win it because, the Cubs were very, very successful during the regular season against the Mets. I think they were unbeaten, but it's kind of a different team. I was looking at a stat this morning. It says that the Mets had the 14th highest run production during the first half of the season, and then after the injuries and after the deadline trades, Mets actually had the best run production average in the regular season for the second half. So we're talking two totally different teams, and so you've got to look at the reversion to mean statistics. Having lost 7 games in the regular season, you're gonna expect to see a turnaround on that. So I don't know, two very good teams, very good young teams. I saw the Mets play one time this year, but I saw the Cubs play 4 or 5 times, and man, they are really good and they are really, really hungry. I don't know if you saw that play that Anthony Rizzo made where he jumped off the tarp onto a wall and caught the foul ball. We were 15 rows back of that spot where they had happened, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I've been watching baseball for a long time. This is a great athlete who really, really wants it. So.
So we got, I think it's going to be, everybody thinks it's going to be a great series. There's no doubt. These are two fairly evenly matched teams. I think the difference is going to be the pitching this time. I know that DeGrom pitched twice against them and didn't have a lot of success against them, but Harvey pitched lights out against them and lost, I believe, a 1-0 game or a 2-0 game to them. And they're going to see Harvey. They're going to see Harvey at least twice in this series. Syndergaard, they saw Syndergaard in his major league debut in Wrigley Field.
Right, yeah. Tough place to start, yeah.
Right, and they've never seen Matz. I just think that, like Bruce said earlier in the show, that good pitching always beats good hitting, and I think that this series.
But if you're a good pitcher, you still got to pitch good. If you don't pitch good, it's over.
Yeah, although DeGrom really impressed me the other night. He clearly had a guy who did not have his control. He was missing his spots. He was missing them by a lot. and he was in trouble the entire night until except for that sixth inning where he finally had a 1-2-3.
Right.
But I mean, he put on his big boy pants and he came out and he really pitched well and he battled, and I was pretty impressed by that. So,
I think he needs a haircut, though.
No, you can't. It's like Samson.
Well, no,
I think they all need haircuts, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, no, I think the hair kind of helps confuse the batter, because that's just one more thing that's waving and flying around out there.
He's got a new nickname, by the way. It's Goldilocks.
Goldilocks. So, are you going to get to go to any of those games out in Wrigley? Do you think?
Probably not. I'm too cheap to spend $1,000 for a ticket. When I can, I can sit in my living room with a fireplace on my big screen HD TV and watch the game for free. So probably not.
Yeah. So I'm going to be there tonight. I'm going tonight and tomorrow, and we'll see
What do you mean
happens.
going tomorrow?
Yeah. My wife doesn't know I'm going tomorrow. Don't say anything.
Yeah, don't say anything. On the
I'm
internet.
going to meet my friend Bruce tomorrow, honey. We're going, I'm leaving at 5 o'clock for an 8 o'clock game. I'll be home sometime after midnight. We're going to crochet.
All right.
All righty, Joe, we're out of time.
Good luck to you guys.
All right, Joe,
Thanks for calling
We'll
in,
talk to
Joe.
you.
All right.
Okay. See you guys. Bye.
All right, thanks, Joe. That's Joe Patana. All right, we're out of time here.
We are.
We are. Thanks to our producers, Kyle Melnick and Eric Mikhailov, for all their hard work and making us look so good out there. Thanks to our guests, Ryan Colpitz and Joe Batania, helping us out with our Glory Days postseason coverage. And you can read their baseball blogs on the sites Around the Horn Talk and A View from the Bench. Thanks again, Chuck and Bonnie, for putting up with this nonsense week after week. And, of course, thanks to you, our loyal viewers. Don't forget, check out the Glory Days on-demand page, www.nravio.com, and you can watch any of our past shows or any of the other great shows on the Nravio TV network. Have a great weekend, everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.
Let's go Mets.
And with the game on tonight, let's
Go Mets. Let's go Mets. Let's go Mets.
See you guys.